Welcome to Inside Sim Racing. I'm Sean Cole, and today we're going to take a look at the Driverpod Pro. The Driverpod Pro is a wheel stand, meaning that it holds your wheel and your pedals, but no seat. There are many different styles of wheel stands, and they can usually be broken into two different categories: center post or dual post. The Driverpod Pro is a dual post, meaning that its uprights for the wheel deck are on the outside of your legs, not in between. As far as wheel stands go, the Driverpod Pro has a very large footprint. It measures 66 centimeters left to right, 61 centimeters front to back. The Pro model will also adjust from anywhere from between 19 inches and 30 inches tall. The panels used are made from strong 12 millimeter thick birch ply with a bonded laminate applied to both sides. The birch ply is made from 9 layers of bonded ply, each with the grain running perpendicular to the last, giving a very strong and rigid product. All panels are then hand finished, and multiple coats of lacquer applied by hand to the edges of the panels for a quality finishing touch. The brackets are made from 4 millimeter thick steel, which is then powder coated to provide a high quality and long lasting finish. The brackets are paired at each position where they are used, one on the inside and one on the outside, clamping it all together. The Driverpod standard comes with shorter shark fins, which reduces the height to 26 inches tall maximum and goes for 335 pounds including VAT. The Driverpod Pro, as we are testing, goes for 365 pounds, and if you already have the regular model and want the longer shark fins, they go for an additional 50 pounds. When ordering, if you specify for a Logitech or Fanatec wheel, they will drill the wheel deck and pedal plate in advance for them. At their website, they currently show it available in red or black, but once again, I would contact them about color availability at that time. Now, they currently have shipping rates for anywhere in the European Union at their website. Now, if you're outside of that, go ahead and contact them and they'll give you direct shipping quotes. Now, when it came to the assembly of the Driverpod Pro, it was very easy. It came in one box and most of the pieces were wrapped individually. Portions of the rig came pre-assembled with hardware already attached. Then, starting from the top of the rig and building your way down, the first step is to attach the shark fins to the top deck. The flat edge of the deck faces the driver and the shark fins curve away from the deck for proper orientation. Next, attach one side of the base to the side of the shark fins using the hardware provided. The spring-loaded hardware goes in the slot with the numbers marking position. Repeat the process for the other side and you will have both sides attached completely. Place the base on the ground flat and then line up the assembled structure and drop it down into the grooves in the bottom plate. Screw down the knobs and the main part of the Driverpod is now complete. Take the foot plate and using a sideways angle you can fit it in the slots made for it. In total, it took us about 10 minutes to build the rig to completion. Now that you've seen what it takes to build up the Driverpod Pro, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and when we return, we're going to talk about the various different adjustments, go over the pros, the cons, and put it on the rev scale. Welcome back to the show. Now, once it's fully assembled, there are several adjustments that can be made. The first and most obvious, of course, is the adjustment of the wheel deck in height. Simply loosen all 4 knobs on the sides and then move it up and down. If you use your knees to move it squarely, it moves even easier. The next adjustment is the angle that the wheel comes at you. If you're looking for a formula-style position, you can lean it all the way down, and if you're looking for a more upright position, then you push it more forward. There is also a bit of room to move the upper shelf forward and backward on the sliders. The other adjustments are for the pedals themselves. You can move the plate up and down to different positions of rake, and you can also adjust the pedal plate for 3 different positions to accommodate different leg lengths. Now it's time to go over the pros and cons, and let's start things off with the cons, and the first one is the hardware is taking a little bit of a beating. It's mostly from us over-tightening it, and things are showing some bending. I could add beefier washers and take care of that problem immediately. The next con is that it is very large. Many people in the market for a wheel stand have space issues, and this one will be hard to hide without taking it all the way apart. The next con is that the wheel deck, despite being very wide, will not accommodate a G27 and its shifter without moving it off-center. Now there's plenty of width to accommodate that, it's just a little odd not being in the center. Fanatic users will be fine using the chopsticks and the shifter that way. And the last con is the price. The Driverpod Pro is pretty expensive, and there's no denying that fact, especially when comparing it to its competition of a Fanatic wheel stand, a GTV racer, or a Steady Play, or any other wheel stand that we've tested for that matter. Now let's move on to the pros. And when talking about the Driverpod, there are a lot of pros, starting with the amount of adjustment. The range of height has allowed all of us to use the Driverpod Pro and be able to put the wheel and pedals where we would want them. The next pro is the adjustable angle of the rig and pedal plate. Anything from upright like a bus driver to leaning back formula style. The next pro is that if torn apart, it will fold down to practically flat for long-term storage. It took us about 4 minutes to accomplish this, a little longer than I'd want to do on a daily basis. The next pro is that they will drill any Driverpod Pro for a Fanatic or Logitech wheel upon request. This makes things clean and easy when it comes to hard mounting your wheel and pedals. The next pro is the very wide width of the pedal box and no center post to get in your way. When using a stationary chair pulled up to the Driverpod, it felt a lot like a full rig built around me. Another pro is the very nice finish of the Driverpod. The black and silver look goes well with anything and looks very racy in its design. And the last pro is perhaps the most important, and that is the amount of wiggle in the stand. The Driverpod Pro is very stationary, has very little side-to-side wiggle, and it has never come loose while driving. After spending quite a bit of time with the Driverpod Pro, I can tell you I am very impressed. The pros are everything I want in a wheel stand, and the cons are so slight once one gets beyond the price. Therefore, when it comes to the rev scale, we're going to proudly give this a 9 out of a 10. Now, if you're interested in the Driverpod Pro, go over to coolsimsolutions.com and check it out for yourself, and be sure to tell them that we sent you. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.